started this essay with the intention of promoting this watch as the value king, no nonsense, everyday piece, which it is, but not for me anymore. My mindset towards collecting and growing my collection continues to evolve, and it's not that I dislike this watch, it's just my standards for the features I want in watches have changed. And I'll go over that when I check back in next time. Last time I checked in with y'all, I spoke briefly of my mindset about collecting and purchasing timepieces. When I first started collecting, my decisions on what I bought were based around things like finding my own personal homages, suggestions and influences from other YouTubers and watch people, and sometimes I just went for it because I liked the way it looked and was at the right price. As the hobby grew, so did the knowledge. Similar to how maybe a photographer would upgrade their camera as their skills and knowledge of self-expression grew, the standards and specifications I desire in my watches started to correlate directly with my lifestyle and career. Watches to me serve a dual purpose of function and expression. It is the beautiful intersection of design and technology. Similar to photography, one side cannot live without the other. And as you develop your own sense of personal identity, there's justified meaning behind everything and every decision. It's been an emotional 3 years, lots of research, lots of YouTube, lots of reading, lots of impulse spending, and one very special surprise from my wife. Through all of this, I started to develop my style and preference. As watch lovers, we are being bombarded constantly with new information and new drops enticing us to spend our hard-earned money on a piece to create new memories with. Today I wanted to take a moment to talk about my own personal list of preferred specifications that I look for when I'm browsing and shopping for a new watch. Before we get into it, I wanted to thank all of you for checking out my visual essay series so far. I'm working on more visual essays, and I have a few straight up reviews coming out on some of the watches that I own in my collection. If you want to stay tapped in, please hit the subscribe button so that you are able to catch me on the next watch deep dive that you have on YouTube. Okay, first let's talk about case material. I'm into all types of material except for wood. If you are considering buying a wood watch, this is not the place for you, or if you own a wood watch, you can leave now, please and thank you. I would also say plastic, but I now own a few moon swatches and they're basically plastic, so yeah. Wood, no, please God, no. Okay, next is case shape. I prefer round cases, but I'm no hater to any of them. When it comes to watch style, I'm a big fan of sport watches, partial to divers. Lowest on the list are field watches and Fliegers. I used to not love chronographs, but once I saw the latest Tag Heuer Carrera glassbox release, I took a deep dive into chronographs and honestly started to open myself more to that style. So much to the point where I bought a Speed Timer 41. This section is the hardest for me to lock down because of its subjectivity, but yeah, I'm a sucker for divers. When it comes to dial design, I prefer having elements that bring lots of three-dimensionality. I love a good mix of applied and painted. I love applied logos and applied indices with balance in the handset. I learned through my journey so far that I don't like Roman numerals on my dials, with the exception of a Cartier Tank and Santos. Roman numerals, honestly, it's too fancy. It's too classy for me. I bought a Bambino because Teddy brainwashed me while I was watching his early videos, and honestly, I don't wear this watch that often. I do love the way it looks, but I think it's the Roman numerals that throw me off. I most definitely prefer Arabics, but honestly, I'm a minimalist at heart, so the less busy the dial, the better. Give me a classic 3-hand with a date, and that's me all day. I also love digital dials, but not like mixed analog and digital dials, like the Seiko Arni, but for some reason I'm cool with a Casio. But yeah, classic 3-hand with a date, or a 4-hand GMT with a date, and steel and gold, please, and thank you. And on the topic of dates, yes, all my watches need to have at least a date complication. I'm a creative freelance professional, and scheduling is the most important part of my job. Knowing the date and having something on my body to reference that is key. Date windows, day date windows, T-date windows, pointer dates, digital dates on digital watches. And as far as colored match date windows, I don't mind if they aren't colored matched. What matters more to me is legibility, so yeah, date window is a must. Moving on to Lume. It's a nice to have, but not a necessity. I have a few Grand Seikos I want that don't have Lume, and it's not stopping me from one day buying these watches. For my work and tool watches, however, Lume is a necessity because of being in constant mixed lighting conditions. Talking about case size, I'm on the opposite end of this new smaller watch trend. I like big watches, not like 55 millimeter deep sea big. I'm talking like, I'm comfortable wearing a 42 on my 6.5-inch wrist. Reasonable lug to lug with a thickness that's under 14 millimeters. Like, I own a vintage Citizen Eagle 7 and 36 mil, and I find myself not wearing it as much as I should, and it's because of the case size. I would say my sweet spot is between 39 and 42 right now. Water resistance is 100 meters minimum. Okay, after you get done rolling your eyes, let me explain. And it's not only water resistance, it's like environment resistant. It's like dust mostly. I'm pretty active, and I'm usually either on location somewhere or I'm in a dusty studio handling lots of equipment. And where I live in the world, the weather can change at any given moment. I just feel more confident wearing watches with at least 100 meters water resistance. Fight me. Let's talk about crowns. I like them at 3 o'clock, signed with no crown guards. Screwed out is a bonus. I like them big and easy to grip. Pause. I honestly love a signed crown so much. I feel like it's such a great opportunity for a brand to imprint their DNA on a watch. Crystal, sapphire. Yeah. Flat, boxed, domed, whatever. Preferably with AR. Again, fight me. I don't care. To round out case specifications, let's talk about Casebacks. I like both exhibition and solid casebacks. I'm definitely more intrigued by solid casebacks with dope designs. I think, like with signed crowns, it gives brands an opportunity to imprint more of their DNA on the watch. I think more micro brands that use third-party movements should use more solid casebacks with designs on them because, I mean, showing off a Miyota or some Seiko NH something is like cool, but you know what I mean. I think brands with in-house movements should show off their movements and have every right to show off their movements, even if they aren't the most beautiful. All that to say, yeah, I can go either way. If you thought I was turning into a watch snob, listen to this. I'm actually okay with quartz watches. To be honest, I used to only look at watches with automatic or mechanical movements until I took a chance on the Speed Timer 41. Owning a nicely cased, nicely braceleted quartz now has changed my mindset towards movements forever, especially with the solar quartz. Never having to worry about setting the time and date, life is so convenient. One movement function that I must have on every watch moving forward is hacking. I like to always set my watches to perfect time. It's kind of OCD, but yeah. I'm good with all movements as long as it hacks and is somewhat reliable with timekeeping. But being an automatic is still a bonus. Second to last is Bracelet. I prefer solid everything with good articulation and a nice taper. Drilled lugs is a bonus, but not necessary. When I shop for watches, I exclusively shop for watches that come with bracelets. In this day and age, it's so easy to buy a great strap, but never the other way around. The bracelet is the unsung hero of the watch. A good bracelet completes the watch and brings it to life. After my wife surprised me with my steel and gold Tudor Black Bay, long gone are the days of the jingly bracelet design. No more folded links, hollow end links, and stamp clasps. This part, I take pretty seriously now, and I love a good bracelet on a watch. This really isn't a specification or a feature, but I thought would be fitting to put on this list, and that's heritage. This part is where the world of micro brands languish a bit. I mean, having heritage is amazing, whether it's hearing the Omega Speedmaster moon landing story for the 800th millionth time or hearing about the Rolex Explorer Mount Everest story again and again. Heritage is important, but for the sake of leveling the playing field, I love a good story. When moving up market and prices ranging upward of 5,000 plus, yes, I think heritage plays an important role in purchasing affirmations. But when companies are newer, I think it's more about the authenticity in their presentation and storytelling. So with this comprehensive list of specifications, you can now see why I plan on parting ways with a watch like my Seiko SRPD 61. Not to sound bougie about it, but I feel like I've outgrown this watch. I feel like I'm at a point in my collecting journey where I need something more substantial than an entry-level offering, especially from one of my favorite brands. But I've made it a point to always own at least one Seiko, which is why I bought the Speed Timer 41. And so far, I've loved owning this watch. If you're still here, thanks for sticking it out with me and going on this journey. I hope I provided some insight for you and any future purchase decisions you plan on making. Thank you so much, and till I check back in next time.